Today we're in Psalm 19, and I think we come to the last verse today. I like all of them, I've kind of fallen in love with this psalm. This has been a great psalm. Verses 1 through 7, God's message to all, or verses 1 through 6, God's message through creation, his witness, the witness of his glory, his gospel, maybe you could say, through creation. Verses 7 through 11, God's witness through his word, through his law, that brings about conversion and then wisdom and joy and enlightenment, and then leads me in truth and righteousness. And then God's witness within, God's Spirit convicting within. Look at verse 12. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright and shall be innocent from the great transgression. Now, I want to say one more thing about verse 12 or 13 before we move to verse 14. I've heard this verse and the verse before it preached as a behavioral verse, like the way to be, I'm trying to find the right words for this, that like the harder I work at it, the more I pray, the more upright I will be. Okay, the harder I work, the more I pray, the more upright I will be. That's not the message of this verse. Step back and look at it with me and make sure you grasp it. David, who can understand his errors? David says in verse 12, for me to even try to be upright on my own is a failing proposition. I don't even understand all of my problems. Okay, I got so many sins, so many flaws, so many cracks and in this foundation, in this life, there's so many issues that there's no way I could even understand them all. So the idea that I can just press, be better, and be upright because I worked so hard at it, prayed so hard at it, is just faulty from the foundation. Because we can't even understand our errors. So David is saying, because I don't even understand my errors, Lord, I'm crying out to you. You cleanse me from secret faults. You keep me back from presumptuous sins. You break their dominion. You let them not have dominion over me. Because that's the only way. Then shall I be upright and be innocent from the great transgression. And I want to reiterate again the extreme dependence that David is expressing. Maybe there's a sin or a struggle in your life that has just been eating your lunch. Maybe it's just got the best of you. Maybe there's anger or there's bitterness or there's lust or something else. And you're fighting that sin. And you read a verse like this, you think, man, yeah, I just need to pray harder and try harder, then I'll be upright. Well, uprightness is declared judicially on you by Jesus and through the work of Jesus. And so remember that. But look at David's prayer. And this is a prayer, really, it's an ongoing posture, really, of life. Lord, I need your help. I need you to cleanse me. I need you to keep me back. I need you to break down the dominion that sins will have over me. And then shall I be upright. Oh my goodness, there is a big buck in my front yard, and you're not going to see him because he's running fast. Wow. Well, that was really cool. I wish I could have shown it to you, but the camera, it wouldn't have worked. So it just walked right across the yard. So what a distraction, but what a beautiful distraction. I just want to go out there and look at him now, but I'm talking to you. Okay, I'll go try to find him after we're done. So David's praying in prayer of dependence. Lord, I want your grace to break the dominion of sins I don't even know about in my life. Presumptuous sins, prideful, arrogant sins, hidden, secret sins. Lord, I need you to break down that dominion. Look at verse 14. Still a prayer of dependence. He ends the psalm with again casting himself on total dependence on the Lord. And I think this is a great prayer, again, to enter any day. It's a great way to just start any day and any evening when you go to bed. Lord, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. Let the words of my mouth, so the things I say today, and the meditation of my heart, the things I think about today, the things I dwell on today, the things I chew on today. What do you just let your mind ruminate on? You know, for me, this is a real struggle for me in regards to ministry, especially during COVID. Probably my biggest struggle during COVID is letting my mind just get stuck in this rut of, what do I do? How do we help the church family when we can't gather? How do we do outreach when we can't gather? How do we be an effective church right now? It is a crippling thought. And then where is it all going? You know, when will we get back to some semblance of normalcy? And worrying about the church family. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? My mind will just get there and it'll just stay there. And it just starts to get thick and heavy and weighed down because it's just a circular reasoning of, it's a problem I can't solve. And there's a lot of other destructive, unproductive ways that our mind can get stuck in meditating in a pattern of meditation. The word meditation is just what your mind is thinking over. It actually is to mutter under your breath. That's the literal meaning of the word. Okay, so it's what you're either thanking and praising God for throughout the day, or what you're grumbling and muttering about. You know, that conversation under the visible surface of your life. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. So David is asking for God's help. He's saying, God, I'm yielding myself to you. Ephesians 5 puts this in the terms of, be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. Galatians talks about the fruit of the Spirit. What does God produce in my life? And there is something to every day yielding yourself to the Lord and to His Spirit and asking Him something along these lines. Lord, let the things I say, the things I think about be acceptable to you. I want to walk uprightly. I want to walk in accordance with who I really am as your child. And Lord, let me think right things. Let me speak right things. Let me use my mind and my words in a way that honors you, that's pleasing to you, that glorifies you. It's almost like he's hearkening back to verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God. The firmament showeth his handiwork. It's almost like he set this case up that said, everything God created speaks well of him. Everything in God's creation speaks well of God. How about me? Do I speak well of God? Does my life speak well of God? Do my thoughts speak well of God? Do my words speak well of God? Do they represent Him? Do they reflect His glory? It's not to say that every word has to be about God. That's not the point. It's not to say that every thought has to be about God. That's not the point. The point is, do my words and my thoughts honor and glorify God? Are they pleasing and acceptable to Him, just like all the rest of creation speaks of His glory and His love and His grace? And David ends the psalm with, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. So He's the source of my salvation, and He's the source of my strength. And my friend, He's going to be the source of your strength today, as He has been the source of your redemption. So pray with me, Lord, let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart be acceptable in thy sight today. Have a great Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow.